One. Boom, chakalaka, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fun episode. We are really going to have a good time because today we just have a cool guest who is a mysterious blue avatar, and we're just going to have fun with that. All right, here we go.
Practicing Polyamory, real-life perspectives from the imperfect people of polyamory. The mission of the Practicing Polyamory podcast is to provide a platform for all of the real-life, flawed humans that practice polyamory so that we might all learn from one another and grow as a community. Enjoy the show.
All right, here we go. So welcome everybody to the show. Before we jump in, I just really quickly want to ask once again, if you're listening, watching, please head over to YouTube, search for Practicing Polyamory Podcast, and hit that subscribe button. I still really want to get to 100 viewers so I can get my own URL. I want it to be youtube.com/practicingpolyA, just like everything else, but I got to get to 100 subscribers before I can get that. So if you can help me out with a subscribe at YouTube, I would really appreciate that. Also, once again, a call to our BIPOC LGBTQ community who also happen to be polyamorous. I would love to especially hear your stories, share your stories. This weekend, I actually spent some time watching a documentary on Netflix called Disclosed, one of those two, and it's with Laverne Cox and a bunch of other transgender phenoms in the media right now that talking about the struggles, talking about the things that they've gone through, come up through, the way that our society has changed, the lines of questioning that are aimed at our transgender community and folks, and it's just a really cool thing to see, and I want to learn more of your stories and learn and hear more from you. So again, just throwing that out there. Now, enough of all that stuff of what we want to be on the show. Let's talk about who actually is on the show. Today's guest has been practicing polyamory for the past 3 years. She considers herself an educator both through trade and through hobby. She loves to teach and is especially passionate about how technology is used in today's educational systems. She's also currently obsessed with her Instant Pot, which, as a guy who can hardly cook anything at all, I'm going to be interested to learn more about that. Having gone through some major life changes during her polyam journey, our guest comes from a place of learning how to find strength, how to identify toxic traits, and how to be the kind of person who stands up for herself and what she believes. I'm so excited to hear a new perspective from our, just so everybody's aware, anonymous guest. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Dee.
Party music. That was a really intense introduction. I hope I can live up to it.
Oh, you will, absolutely. It's those little things that I asked you in the questionnaire that I like to get to know my guests through writing a story for them. And you provided the material. I just kind of put it in a different format.
I get it.
But welcome, Dee. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for actually being our first anonymous guest. This is really cool.
Well, you're welcome. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people who are still, unfortunately, having to be closeted. And so it doesn't mean you're less of a polyamorous person just because you're not able to share it with the world.
100% agree.
I unfortunately live in a state where adultery is illegal, and because of the fact that it is illegal, I could lose my job for it.
That is interesting. Okay, so this weekend I actually had an epiphany moment, right? A idea, one of those, this would be a really good thing to talk about. And I wrote down 3 words. I was like, maybe this will be my theme for the week. The 3 words were morality, acceptance, and validation. So I feel like these are really, big topics that speak to us in our polyam community. Now, you say that the state that you live in, adultery is legal. Is this
illegal?
Illegal. I'm sorry, illegal. Is this, in your opinion, is this like a moral issue facing polyam folks?
I mean, I don't. I find that if you're open and honest, then the morality is kind of a moot point. My
Mhm.
father had an issue with me being polyamorous and stated, it's against his morality. And I said,
Mhm.
well, there are some cultures where me wearing short sleeves is immoral. It's
Right.
against the morality. So, it's all a perspective. So
Absolutely. Where do we get our morality from? Like, where do you think this idea that polyamory is immoral, where do you think that comes from?
I think society and the fact that, marriage is this whole one man, one woman. It's what everyone's supposed to be moving towards. It's that relationship escalator. We all are supposed to be
Mhm.
moving towards getting married and having children, and that's kind of everyone's destination. But it, I feel like, of course, religion has a lot of basis in morality, but I feel like morality is a lot of, being good to other people, being honest with other people, being upfront. I don't necessarily think that, m- how I act should be, decided by somebody who, you know, isn't, isn't present in my everyday.
Well, and what do you say to that though? Like, if somebody's telling you, well, it's supposed to be one man and one woman, and obviously our whole society is changing that. Like, we're definitely in this moment in time where we're shifting that paradigm and saying no, it's not that, right? Like,
Hmm.
league gay marriage was finally made legal in all 50 states, not too long ago.
Yeah.
And so, what do you say to someone who comes at this and says, well, it's not immoral, it's not moral, like you're doing something that, what do you say to that? What's your response?
Why so serious?
Well,
Hopefully not holding a knife to anybody's face, but yeah, why so
I asked
serious?
them why. Why do you consider it immoral? There's no lying. Everyone's open and honest, and they are, communicating to each other and letting them know. And if anything, it makes you have to really expose your whole self to be able to do this. So I just asked them
Yeah,
why.
that's true.
So,
Oh, so why do they consider it immoral? And I think you're right. A lot of times it just goes to that, this is what we were raised with. This is what, religion has taught us, society has taught us, all over all these years.
mhm.
How do you think we're doing as a society in changing that though?
um, I mean, I feel like it's becoming. I'm hearing it more in the media.
Hmm.
As far as TV shows, as far as just general practice hearing about it. I know when I cannot remember his name. He was in the Crimes of Grindelwald. He was
Johnny Depp
no,
or
no, 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 no. He was also the
Eddie
Flash in
Eddie
DC movies.
oh, hmm. I can't remember. I can't think of his name.
He came out as polyamorous.
Really?
He did.
The
And he
Flash from
started,
Justice League?
not the one on the CW, but the one on Justice League. Yes. And I cannot remember his name for the
That's
life
okay.
of
I'm
me.
Googling it right now.
He came out as polyamorous, and I think that was the first time I had seen, someone in celebrity status come out as that. And there's been rumors swirling for years about Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith.
Right, right.
Um, but yeah,
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller, yes, 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 yes. But yeah, he
Huh.
came out as polyamorous.
I think he's wonderful.
I
Yes.
do think he's
Yes, he's
wonderful.
wonderful.
He's weird and quirky, and I just love that about him.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I've only seen him in the Justice League. I'm sure that he's in other things too, but I'll get around to seeing more of that. So he actually came out as polyamorous. I didn't
He
even
did.
realize that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Ho-
think it was like maybe 2 years ago. He was just like
Nice.
talking about his polycule.
Wow. And yeah, I mean, you brought up Jada and Will Smith, and they had that whole thing recently. What was it? What did she say? It was a situation, or
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I forgot the
it
word that she
was
used.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah, exactly. She had a situationship, it's whatever, it's fine. But yeah, so we're seeing it come out more and more in the media. Do you think that eventually, like, honest opinion, do you think that eventually it's going to be just okay? Like, do you think that acceptance is in entanglement? Thank you, Viviana. That was the word that she used. Do you think that one of these days it's just going to be okay? Like, it's going to be widely accepted. Nobody's going to bat an eye. Nobody's going to think anything of it if we say, yeah, I have multiple partners.
I think someday, but I don't think that we're that close to it. If you think about how long it took just for the LGBTQ people to be accepted in normally in, quote unquote normal society, I feel like, we've still got to go on that journey. I mean, I have friends who are polyamorous and part of the LGBTQ community. And, they've got a lot of different levels of things that they've got to navigate as well. So I think it's might, but I don't think it's there yet, especially because our society is set up so much for two people in a relationship. Tax wise, house wise. My partner, well, my boyfriend and his wife, who I'm very close with, they just bought a house, and the plan is eventually that I'm going to be moving in with them. For us to find homes that didn't have, because we all wanted our own bedrooms, to not have, that one master suite and then smaller rooms, even that was very difficult to find. And I mean, just thinking about that, I mean, it's set up for two people to share, two people to be the head of the household and to have children in that house.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I mean, everything that we have seen over the past however long millennia, it's all kind of geared towards that. What does that say about, us and what our relationship status is? Does that make us any, like, I don't know, not less valid, but how do you feel about that? And this idea that, you can't find a house with two master bedrooms, or it's really hard to find a house with two master bedrooms. And, we are following this path that is, different from what society expects. And, society isn't necessarily going to change to appease us, right? We kind of have like these are the rules of the game, and we just kind of have to learn to play by the rules and find our place within that. Like, what are your thoughts on kind of this idea of where we are in society and how we have to find our way?
I think it makes my relationship with my boyfriend seem less permanent or less valid than his relationship with his wife. They have a legal binding, and
right.
And trying to, have him, now they've bought a house, he wants to make sure that, God forbid something happens to him, that I'm protected as well. And trying to go through the legal process of doing that while he's married to her and still wanting me to be included in that is extremely hard. And it really does feel like it invalidates our relationship sometimes on a legal standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, how does that feel? Because I mean, I'm married too, and I have another partner that I'm not married to. She and I, we're not necessarily looking to live together and have that dynamic. But you are, right? You just said that you are looking to buy a house together, and so you're looking to plan this whole life. And what are some of your, like, concerns with that? And what can you do? What have you looked into doing to resolve that?
Well, what we've looked into doing is having me as a contingent on life insurance. That way, if, God forbid something happens to him and his wife, then I would be, I would have the money to be able to pay out the mortgage and be able to stay in my home.
Right.
The other thing is just going to a lawyer and doing estate planning and, having me on there, not necessarily as a spouse, but as someone who has, legal precedent and, hopefully, power of attorney and, things like that. God for, I keep saying God forbid because I'm so afraid of things happening. But, I fear that jinx of just saying it and then something happens. But, if he was in the hospital, and she wasn't able to make decisions for him, he wants me to be able to make decisions. So it's
So there was
trying
a conversation with a lawyer. You said you got like a power of attorney. You got added as a beneficiary on his life insurance.
not yet. Those are all things that are in the works
In the
right
works.
now. Mhm.
Got it. But I mean, those are great steps. And I mean, have you talked with polyam friendly attorneys and polyam friendly preparers, all these different things?
Not yet. Those are, like I said, this is all still, they just bought a house with my input. They had me go to all the showings with them. They're doing the financial aspect of it right now, because at this moment I'm not able to move with them due to constraints with my career. But I'm moving in with them hopefully in a year. So we're taking that time to get everything figured out. Estate planning. Yeah, that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at is estate planning.
Very cool. Well, shout out to our attorney in heels here, Viviana. She is an attorney here in California. So whatever state that you're in, I don't know if she'll be able to help you, but if anybody here in California needs some help with these types of things, reach out to our friendly, polyam friendly attorney in heels. I'm just going to throw that out there because she likes me. So I'm going to say that she's polyam friendly because she likes me.
Well, who wouldn't like you?
I mean, I haven't met any mortal enemies yet.
I mean,
so
they tend to stay in the shadows.
But
It's worse. It's so much worse.
Mortal enemies tend to stay in the shadows.
Right? No, so true, so true. So let's see, we were talking about getting set up with estate planning. We were talking about potentially a power of attorney. Yes, polyam friendly, of course she is. What other obstacles have you come across when it comes to merging your life with these two other people?
Well, first I just want to say that I am not with both of them. I'm just with my boyfriend. I am straight. His wife is bisexual. Her and I have a very close friendship. And extra well. It's a weird dynamic. The other part of it is that that I am the cause of a divorce.
Okay.
Oh, are you losing me?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, hold on. My Wi-Fi got turned off. There we go.
That's what happened. You caught back up. We're good. We're good. I think. Hello? Uh-oh. Blank space.
I saw you.
Oh.
Wait. I think. Are we back? Are we not?
I can hear you. I can hear you. We're good. We're good now.
Okay. All right.
All right, producer. Let's edit that out. We're not live or anything. It's fine. I'm teasing. So you were saying you're going through a divorce currently?
Yes, I am. My soon-to-be ex-husband and I were married for 10 years. We had an open relationship for probably about 6 or 7 of those.
Okay.
And during that, 3 of them were polyamorous.
Got it.
So that's kind of, but during that time, we had our ups and downs, and kind of meeting the man that I'm with now, it made me kind of see the things that I knew I shouldn't have in a relationship.
That makes sense. It's hard to see the forest through the trees, right? When you're like in the middle of something, when you're in it, when you're emotionally attached, it's hard to take that step back and take that, third person viewpoint on your own life to make those changes. But one of the things that you wrote about was being able to identify toxic traits and be able to stand up for yourself. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience and some of the things maybe that you went through and some of the lessons that you've learned?
Well, as we were married, it was he's bipolar, and nothing against people who are bipolar. There are a lot of people who manage their bipolar in a lot of healthy ways. We got to the point where it was either a screaming match or we didn't care about each other at all in the things that we did, and there was no listening, there was no planning, there was
Hmm.
placating. Um, for much of our relationship, it was the biggest issue, I think, was that I wanted a house and he didn't seem to be able to hold on to a job or to save any money or to make any future plans that actually were possible. He would
Hmm.
promise the world, but there was no plan put in. And the way that he would manipulate things that I would say or the situations that would happen, I always felt like I was the one who was holding us back. And
Hmm.
it got to the point where I was always apologizing and just doing everything I could to avoid making him angry because the ramifications and the mental like roller coaster that I would go on from it, because I have anxiety and depression, and going through those things over and over again, it was making me sick. My hair was falling out. I was gritting my teeth when I was sleeping so bad that I actually cracked two of my teeth. Um, and I was talking with my boyfriend, and he said to me one day, he goes, I'm not going to tell you what to do. He goes, but you need to think about, where do you want to be a year from now, 3 years from now?
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
told him, I wanted to own a house. I want to do this, that, and the other thing. He goes, do you think that the path that you're on now will get you to those things? Do you think that the way that things are moving, is that where you're going to end up? And it was this like shock to me of me just stopping and going, oh my God, no, I'm doing the exact same things over and over again. I'm going through this cycle with my soon to be ex of, okay, we've got great jobs, we're making good money. Why are we broke every single week? What's going on?
Hmm.
And it would be all of a sudden, okay, we've got these great plans, and then nothing would ever come to fruition. And it was 10 years of that.
Feels like a
And
long time.
yeah, and it was all things that, it was nothing new that had never been said to me before. It
Hmm.
was, my parents had said it, my sister had said it, a lot of friends had said it. And having him, he's a person who doesn't like to take sides. He doesn't like to sway people in one way or another. Having him say that to me, somebody whose opinion I had come to respect,
Hmm.
it was like, holy crap, what have I put myself through? He
Wow.
had already been asking me all the time, why do you keep apologizing? Why are you bracing yourself every time you have to tell me something you think is bad news? And it was all of a sudden seeing those things from him. And it was like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I showing my child that's acceptable?
It's like you're constantly living in fear of any kind of disappointment, it sounded like.
Yeah. And there was no physical abuse,
Mhm.
but it was to the point where I was so depressed I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't feel anything anymore.
Even if there's not physical abuse, like, to think that every disagreement can lead to, like, a clash,
Mhm.
in you said that there were shouting matches, just to feel, to live in fear that any kind of disagreement could end up in even a shouting match, like, that's definitely,
Oh, hell no!
yeah, that's
Yeah.
not an experience that we want to be in, for sure. So
Oh,
you were able to recognize it,
mhm.
and you said that it hit you that, what are you showing your child, and now you're to a point where you say you are more able to stand up for yourself. Can you give me an example of, how and when that changed, and, just something that you remember that it was like, this happened, this was that moment where I was like, I'm taking this stand.
Kind of the start of it was actually my birthday last year. Um, he had 2 weeks before borrowed $200 from his mother to buy a camera online to start a photography business that he had no idea how to run. And my birthday came and I didn't even get so much as a card. And I was just like, why am I putting up with this anymore? I took a picture of myself on that day and I posted it to my private Facebook and I was like, don't let yourself do this again. And from that moment, I told him the next week that I wanted a divorce. Which is ironically on our 13-year dating anniversary, but I mean, that's, but we had gone to the store shortly after that to pick up some stuff. And I was going there to buy some stuff to make some cookies for a party I was going to with my metamor, my boyfriend's wife. And he started in the middle of the store, he started calling her the C word, all kinds of stuff. And I just looked at him and I said, I don't have to put up with this. And I walked away. And
Boom.
it was it was like the first time I let myself do that.
Wow. Yes, exactly. Like, that's such a huge moment. I mean, to be able to just take that stand, to just not accept that for yourself. And so now going forward, what would you say to someone who you saw, you know, in your position, who wasn't feeling quite able to stand up for themselves, not quite able to you know, do these things that you have found strength in? What would you say to someone like that? What would you say to yourself, you know, 3 years ago?
Probably do the same thing that I had, you know, I had my boyfriend say to me, why? And where do you want your life? And do you see the path that you're on getting you there? And I think that is the biggest wake up call, just to ask somebody that. And I think also having support. This is the first time in my life I felt the support around me, because a lot of what he did caused a lot of guilt and anxiety and caused a lot of distance between my friends, my family. And there was a lot of pushback for him to not want my family close to me. And I've always been close to my family. And it fractured us for a long time. So it's just like to finally, you know, have that support around me and to feel like I can do this. I've had friends let me stay with them. I've had friends, like right now I'm living with a friend who, she had a basement apartment and she's like, come live with me. So I'm renting that out from her, and now I've got my own space and I'm getting my life together to get ready for the next step.
Nice. Very cool. And, you know, hopefully another year you'll be in there with your partner and your meta, and, you know, moving on forward from there.
Oh, I'm so excited about that.
I bet. So we started the show talking about morality. By this point, we've kind of, you know, you were just talking about how you feel more acceptance, you know, even within your family, now that you're able to connect with them again. And that last one is validation. What does validation mean to you as a polyamorous person? And do you feel that you have that? And do you feel that you have it?
I think I've gotten it from myself. My family, you know, they love me, they support me. They don't understand the polyamory thing. They're trying they're trying to get there. They're not sure if they want to meet the boyfriend. But
Feel that?
I feel like this is a relationship that is healthy, that is fulfilling to me, that is open and honest, and I feel valid in it. And I wish I could shout it from the rooftops and, you know, not have to risk my job. But, you know, I feel validation from my polyamorous friends, from those people who knew him before they knew me, and are like, you're a great addition to him. You are wonderful for him. And seeing that,
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. It's those are those moments, right? Those are those moments when it's like, you know, and especially because it doesn't take away from his relationship with his wife, you know, and that I feel is like one of the hardest things for people that are not totally familiar with polyamory, people who have been, so stuck in monogamy, is like they often think that one relationship takes away from the other, but to get that validation, and to see both relationships working in harmony, that's this way, it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift.
Exactly.
I mean, his wife and I actually have had these conversations where they're like, I expect, my love for him to start at an 8 and my love for somebody else maybe to start at 3, and then for them to move up together. One moves to a 4, one moves to a 9, moving
Mhm.
up at the same rate. And she's like, it doesn't work like that. She's like, my love for the next person, maybe comes in at an 8 already and moves to that level where I feel the same amount for them that I do for my partner that I've had for 20 years. And she's like, it's a weird feeling. It feels like I'm almost betraying him, but then we talk about it and he's feeling the same things. So we have a whole like polycule, and we talk about this
Mhm.
all these different like ranges of love and attention and trust within it. So I'm dating my boyfriend. My boyfriend's married to his wife. His wife's dating a guy who's married to his wife, and his wife has a boyfriend. And
I love it.
that's our whole polycule. We all get together, we make dinners, and we talk, and our kids all play together, and it's a weird, awesome little family.
It sounds very kitchen table, and I love it. I don't know, for me, like, that is the way to do polyam, and I know other people have different ways that they prefer. A lot of people prefer parallel. They don't necessarily want these different lives, different partners to intermingle or anything, and that's all fine. But I just feel like, for me personally, there's just so much love in our polycules that, like, how can I not want to share that? How can I not want to be a part of that?
Exactly. It's not like we're all like, having massive, sex parties in front of each other. That's not how it is.
That's not how this works.
It's not how it works. I mean, I feel like, the amount of orgies has really been over exaggerated.
Yeah. I mean, people hear it, and all right. So I told you I watched that documentary Disclosure.
Yes.
And one of the things that I saw is that in the media in the past, there was always this obsession with the genitalia. Well, what do you do? Do you just tuck it behind? Well, how did you get boobs? And all these different things that are like about our parts, right? And
Mhm.
when you look historically, even at the LGBT struggle, and making it where it is today, where it's beyond acceptable. It's like, to ostracize it in any way is like, oh no, you're bad now for judging in any way. But even back when things were first starting out, it's like it was all about the sex, right? Homosexuality, like it's all about the sex, and that's all that anybody looks at in open relationships, in polyamory, in all these different things. It's everybody wants to talk about the sex, but polyamory is so much more than that. It's like this deep love that I can experience with more than one person. And like,
Yeah.
it's the love.
It is the love. My dad said to me, he goes, I just can't get over, my daughter sleeping with a married man. I'm like, but his wife's okay with it. Like, why do you have to have a problem with it? It's not
Yeah.
nothing that you're doing. I said, nobody's lying to anybody. And his whole thing was that it went against his vows. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, he didn't take vows. Like, their vows weren't like that.
Right.
So
I got married in Vegas. I had no vows.
I mean, one thing we like to say in our group is it's like pie. You can like apple pie, you can like pumpkin pie. But it's all about the love of pie.
There it is. There it is. And when we always use the fruit salad analogy, right? Well,
Yeah.
sometimes I love apples and sometimes I love oranges, and an apple is never going to be an orange, but I love apples and I love oranges.
Yep.
And
And
put it
your
all
love
together
of
and we're a
one
fruit
doesn't
salad.
take love of one doesn't take away from your love of the other.
Exactly. Dee, it has been such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much again for joining us here for this conversation, for being part of the conversation, for allowing us to talk to you, to learn from you, and again, staying anonymous through this. So, for anybody who's listening who is a little bit afraid maybe of coming on the show because they don't want to be seen, or they're afraid for that anonymity, they still need the anonymity. Dee, you're a perfect example, and I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for giving me this platform. I appreciate it. And I love being able to be open and honest about my journey.
All right. Thank you again. Everybody else who is tuning in, please don't forget to head over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, search for Practicing Polyamory Podcast. Once I actually have 100 subscribers, it will just be youtube.com/practicingpoly, just like everything else. And follow me on all social medias at Practicing Poly. I promise I'll get better at this whole social media thing. And, I see all the things that La Vida is doing, and the Polyphilia blog, and polyam.us, like all these different ones I know, and they're so good at the social media, and that's my goal. I'm going to get there and share some really cool stuff with you guys, you all, that I learned from incredible guests like Dee over here. And if you want to be a guest, last but not least, if you want to be a guest on the show, would love to have you on to learn from you as well. Again, don't forget, you can come on anonymously if you need to. If you are able to come on not anonymously, like the past few guests, that's awesome as well. But either way, would love to learn from you and join the conversation. That's all we got, everybody. Thank you all so much. As always,
Have a nice day!
Thank you for tuning in to the Practicing Polyamory Podcast. Would you or someone in your polycule like to be a guest? Sign up at practicingpolyamory.com and join the conversation. Please support us by subscribing, liking, and following us on social media at Practicing Polya by clicking any of the affiliate links on our website, or by subscribing at patreon.com/.